Yeah, hello again. Well, last night we had some interesting fights. Well, most of them didn't last very long, but because they are heavyweight fights. Of course, I'm talking about the Riyadh card. Yeah, first fight was Martin Bakole versus Carlos Takam. Yeah, and that was a good fight as long as it lasted. I mean, Bakole just continues to impress, despite his enormous girth and his size. He's very effective, the way he throws and lands punches. He's really a talented guy, no doubt. I mean, he got Takam out of there in 4 rounds, which I don't think anybody else did before, so quickly. Yeah, definitely not. And it was a very good victory. And for Takam, it should be a wake up call to just retire already. He's 42 and has been knocked out more than a couple of times already. He doesn't need it, even though came in looking in good shape, and he gave it all he had. I mean, but he landed some good ones, but still he was just outgunned, by a younger man, bigger, stronger, probably better as well, technically. And yeah, then we had Moses Sitoma. He scored a really easy win, another first round knockout, which I could tell from the get go. I mean, that opponent didn't look to be in great shape or very mobile or anything. So yeah, he continues to rack up easy knockout wins. Yeah, gonna be interesting to follow him in the future. Of course, Fabio Wardley also he stopped David Adelaide, and it was a very good fight. I mean, yeah, even it went a little longer than I thought it would, but Adelaide he put up a good fight. He had definitely some good moments, but in the end, it was the speed, the hand speed of and the power of Wardley that prevailed. Of course, he sent Adelaide down. It was a very clever way to do it. They were in a clinch, and then just as they had separated, he just threw a right hook, bang, and then a left hook, and Adelaide was down. He did kind of make like a grimace, but he was hurt, obviously. Yeah, and he was stopped shortly thereafter with a barrage, and it was a good stoppage. Adelaide wasn't happy, but it was a good one. And of course, Joseph Parker scored also third round knockout over some guy called Keane from Canada. Yeah, I just think Joseph Parker is a case of wasted talent, and being simply not being a big heavyweight for today, or not being a very like big puncher. He just has power, but it's not really immense power for today's heavyweights. And him more always going for a points victory, or his style is such that he doesn't score that many knockouts against world class fighters. He just yeah, often has to go the distance, and that makes you old before your time. And I simply don't know how much more he can achieve. So, but this was a good, an easy, good, easy win for him. Good way to get back on track, and he's still only 31, but he's an old 31, definitely. Yes. So now he should focus on fighting somebody, somebody that he can beat, like maybe Joe Joyce or I don't know, somebody like that, you know, or whatever. And yeah, that's about it. Just a really likable guy, but being nice and likable doesn't, make you successful in boxing, definitely. So yeah, and we also then the main fight, of course. What a disappointment from Fury. Man, Tyson Fury just was not himself, his usual self last night. He looked really out of shape as well, and yeah, he just was. He didn't have much to show. He landed some punches, but he missed most of his big punches. He missed. Whether that is, I think it is because he's now, he's always done best against guys usually who are, bigger, not that much shorter than him. Yeah, like Wilder, for instance, or Klitschko, or those guys. I mean, yeah, Chisora he did beat 3 times. Chisora is a guy who is a lot shorter. Julian White, but White wasn't at his best anymore. He didn't put up an effort. But usually, yeah, I mean, uh, that's one thing. It looked like he had a problem landing really like on Ngannou with big punches, But also Ngannou came in really, I mean, in top shape, and he really, I mean, impressed immensely. I mean, with his boxing skills, what? Come on, it was nobody could expect him to be that good. I mean, yeah, wow, just man, just wow. And when he dropped Fury in the third round, everybody went crazy. It was one of the best moments of boxing moments of this year, definitely. It was a highlight, and he just showed that he's a tremendous, formidable fighter in both boxing and MMA sense. And yeah, there are some fighters that just transcend these, limitations. Like someone can only fight well enough in one kind of martial art or sport or combat sport, and usually when they try something else, they don't do well, and yeah. I mean, there have been several, both kickboxers and MMA fighters who have tried boxing as well, but they didn't do well at all. However, Ngannou is one of those rare examples where he's like the universal fighter, He can do it all. Like, I mean, he hasn't yet done kickboxing, but anyway, yeah, I mean, he just should have won that fight, definitely, no doubt about it. I mean, even if I think he won at least for sure 5 rounds, and with the knockdown, that should have been enough for a victory, of course, 95 and 84. I mean, one judge did have that score. However, he may have even won 6 rounds. I thought maybe probably yeah, because Fury didn't do enough in many of those rounds, and no way that he won like 6 or 7. I mean, that one judge gave him 7 rounds, and that's crazy. That's a travesty. You cannot justify a score like that. 95, 94. Well, all right. But even that kind of is a stretch because 6 rounds. I don't think anybody can really say that he won. 6 rounds. That it is reasonable to say at most 5. But even that to me is a stretch. But at most. So definitely, Francis Ngannou was the real winner of last night's big fight, and now Fury, is again like being very vague about fighting Usyk. Like, yeah, we'll see, and yeah, and but of course nobody could let that fight. If Fury had not been given the decision, then of course we know that that fight probably wouldn't have happened. You know, but now it can happen, and that's the only good thing about him getting the decision. And yeah, but will it happen? It's still not, not certain if that fight will happen. I mean, knowing Fury, what he has been doing for the last couple of years, really dodging both Usyk and other guys as well. Joshua. I mean, he had signed to fight Joshua, fair enough, in 21, but Wilder ruined that. That was a great shame, of course. However, he should have fought him after he beat Wilder for a third, for a second time. And what does he do? I mean, everybody expects him to fight Joshua last year. What does he do? He signs to fight fucking Derek Chisora. How can you do that? I mean, you call yourself the best heavyweight on the planet. Like you are like saying you're the only true world champion, and then you fight a guy who hasn't had a fucking you know hasn't won a fight for a long time, or hasn't been in a relevant fight also for. I mean, Joseph Parker. That's just I mean, he got his ass kicked in both fights. Let's be honest, Chisora. So to fight Chisora, I mean, even Dillian White, some way you can justify because he did beat Povetkin, and he was in the waiting line for a long time to fight for a world title, and yeah, that's all right. I mean, he didn't perform well, but he earned his right for that fight. But Chisora, oh man, that was just an embarrassment, and that should have been Joshua. And if not Joshua was available for some reason, then there were certainly other fighters. Yeah, you could have chosen. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about Arslanbek Makhmudov. Yeah. He also won, but that's a pity. He should have was supposed to fight Agron Smakichi, at for some reason he couldn't be there, and instead he fought some, a cruiserweight. Who was a solid fighter, but as a cruiserweight, he was already 37. And he's like 6 feet tall, and like no way, it's just ridiculous. I mean, a 6'5", almost six heavyweight who is like I don't know 30 years or something of age fighting a 37-year-old former cruiserweight who is 6 feet tall. No way, man. That's but yeah, of course it couldn't have lasted longer than one run. I hope that both Makhmudov and Wardley now get the fights they deserve. You know, But yeah, anyway, back to Fury. Fury just didn't justify in any way that he should still deserves to be called, the number one heavyweight. I mean, people before the fight, those you know co- commentators were calling him the number one heavyweight. No way, no fucking way. He didn't beat Anthony Joshua. Usyk beat him twice, and clearly, both times, definitely schooled him. He didn't fight, Usyk himself yet. Who God knows if he ever will. But he, I think, knows by now that he must. Otherwise, everybody will start, hating on him, calling him a clown. But yeah, last night he really embarrassed himself, and that's all. He embarrassed boxing. What's even worse with that? Because now MMA fans will be like, "Oh yeah, you see that your MMA fighters are the best." We see what the best MMA heavyweight did to your champion, your best heavyweight. supposedly, but he is not that, alright. His whole fucking career is based on two wins over two guys only, and one of them was already at the twilight of his career, Vladimir Klitschko, when he lost to Fury, alright. The other one is Wilder, who never was a complete boxer. He was just a puncher, always. Just a puncher. Who, because of his height and all that, was kind of also a little bit hard to hit and knock out and stuff like that. Also, may I add. And but he fought mostly, substandard opponents mostly in his career, so he did well for a long time. So yeah, Fury should not really be. He and his ratings will sink now. I hope his rankings anyway will take a tumble, and he deserves that. So yeah, this was just a great night for Francis Ngannou and and a punch in the slap in the face for boxing. Yeah. All right, so that was it. All I had to say. Thanks and see you soon. Bye.